Correction from the previous episode. I forgot to mention the appearance of the Ancient One, whose job at this point is to act as a deus ex machina for the group when they are in a bind. His interference allowed for the warriors to go on the offensive against Anubis. The reunion arc, which consists of 8 episodes, is meant to expand the lore of the armors and how their powers work. Going in order that the warriors are found, Rio represents virtue, controls the element of fire to the point that he can survive face down in lava pools and gain power from them. Sage represents wisdom, who controls light and electricity, who has minor healing abilities using light. Sai represents faith, that is changed in the same arc as trust, can control the element of water. Kento represents justice, can control earth. And Rowan's symbol isn't revealed yet, but he can control air. Correspondingly, they use twin katanas, a nodachi, a yari, an iron bow, and a collapsible hakinyu, which most Westerners like you and me will recognize as a bow and arrow. The most interesting thing about these armors is that rather than be dispersed around the world, they are sent to locations near the city that Dynasty has invaded, which makes for convenient storytelling, as I doubt Mia and her crew has the funding or active infrastructure needed to go continent hopping with Dynasty constantly watching her every move. We learned that the armors were merely depleted of their energy and returned to where they were forged to recharge, but it is revealed that Rowan's armor is in space, and it just makes me wonder how in the world did they get in space to forge armor, and how did they find a furnace that could get hot enough in the vacuum of space to even smelt metal. Recharging in their respective elements has given the warriors an increase in their abilities in their base form, and as such, the dynasty soldiers are treated as weak mooks going forward. We also get our first death among the allies, Dr. Koji. The real star of this arc is Rio, who initially comes off as a hothead but shows tact in various situations. He uses a feint against Anubis to turn the tide of battle, scares a ghost or spirit with the fake sword strike to get it to leave Dr. Koji's body, expresses respect for his opponents when Kento was downplaying them, and realized that Sai was right about how the battle against the illusionary warriors was too easy. He also showed some emotional tact when he knew that Mia was emotionally vulnerable after witnessing her grandfather's death. The Deus Ex Machina of this arc is the Ancient One. He literally shows up to either do a spiritual prep talk or does an attack that saves them from death. Despite his awesome powers, his motives are unclear, and Mia is right to question him. I also find it funny when Mia was visibly annoyed over Yuli's insistence that his parents weren't captured by Dynasty. I hadn't realized it as a kid, but now as an adult, Kento is more of a hothead than I remember him being. He kind of reminds me of a Goku prototype, as he wants to jump into battle without thinking or a plan and has a big appetite. Kento also suggests that he too may have worked for Dynasty, though against his will. I don't know how to interpret Rowan yet, but Sai showed some coldness when he flatly wanted to abandon Rowan because the search for him was getting hard. Sage is more level-headed. Hopefully more of his personality will come out that isn't being a hard ass to Mia and being Kento's opposite. Am I becoming a Rio fanboy? At least I didn't start shipping. Is that a smile from Rio after Mia put her foot down? Dynasty seems to be showing some cracks in its political structure. As the generals continue to fail more and more in their attempts to take down the warriors for good, they devolve further and further into fighting before Taupo steps in and starts making his own direct efforts that results in a fleshy, evil nether spirit ball bomb rocket thingy that fails twice but gives our heroes the convenient method to reach Rowan. Topple seems to hint that he has been to Earth before and is motivated by revenge. Against whom we don't know, but he recognizes the Ancient One. And so, as we learn about the Ronin warriors, so we learn about Topple's 4 generals. Anubis, who we saw in battle from the previous arc, uses metal through his Kirisagama, as well as a sword as needed, is shown to have by the end of the arc a sense of warrior pride, not wanting to defeat the warriors by any means. A symbol flashes on his head towards the end that is revealed to be loyalty. After he fails to land the killing blow on Rio in their final bout of the arc, and then has his cover blown as a human, he is painfully called back by Toppa. Next is Sekhmet, who uses 6 blades to inflict his target with various toxins and acids for various effects, and create makeshift weapons by using more of his katanas, with 6 katanas combining to form a whip. Next is Kale, who claims the power of darkness, but his powers involve ice. His sword has homing qualities, and he comes with bear claws, so disarming him is nearly impossible. His special seems to be sucking in heat energy to induce a wave of extreme cold. Finally, we have Dice, who seems to be able to manipulate light and sound to create illusions. Dice is the most versatile of the four, having 6 scythe-like appendages attached to his armor that can create thin wire-like spider webs as well as attack, nunchucks, and a morning star. The Dynasty could have won the war during this arc. The biggest issue is sending out only one general per sleeping warrior, despite knowing that their armors are resonating and getting stronger. There is also this weird desire to torture their opponents when they could get the job done, showing arrogance that pops up when victory is near. Choosing to fight the warriors near or in their element is also a tactical error. Second toxins get a boost in water, yes, but you are facing a guy who controls water and just got to recharge from it. Get out of the water sooner rather than later. You could have defeated Sai. Instead, Rio gets enough time to recover and gank you with their combo attack. The narrator's voice gets a younger quality to it starting in episode 7, and it isn't due to a voice actor change either. We are also shown that the citizens have been captured and put into a loop of always walking or running in distress, never getting anywhere. Toppa claims to have their souls, but we don't see any bodies besides Mia's grandfather, so I'm assuming that their bodies were sent to the Dynasty Castle as well. When the 5 warriors are reunited, Toppa closes the gates to Dynasty Castle, and Dynasty goes into the defensive. Also, Rio is pronounced Ryo in the dub, but I'm going to call him Rio anyway. Oh, this series has beautiful environments that continue with its arc. Also, Rio can understand tiger language, and Mia can sense the intent. What classes did her university offer her? Also, Anubis hates the mountains, and the mountain responds in kind by blowing its top when he falls into the lava pits. Mutually assured hatred, I guess. This concludes our look over the reunion arc for Ronin Warriors. This is Umitencho, who would like to thank you for coming by. When we return, we'll look at the next arc.